That's cool.
1.2 million.
Yep.
That's like, yeah, we can't justify that.
For like-
That's a 24% increase for one truck,
For like a ladder truck or like a big truck
a fire truck, yeah. and they're- The ones they use there.
to pump water
Yeah.
and wow.
The 2 million should also go on green.
Perfect. They have the charging stations to support them too, right? So-
In the car charts. They plug them in at home. Any new vehicle that they purchase.
Good evening, welcome to our May 10th meeting, Recreation and Community Advisory. I need a mover and a seconder to open up the meeting. Roger and Debbie. So is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we need a resolution for the adoption of the minutes from our last meeting. Did you guys have a chance to read them over? Are there, yes, Justin?
No, I'm just agreeing. We're
You're
good.
agreeing? Okay,
I'm agreeing.
okay, we need a mover and a seconder. Would you like to move it?
I'll move it. Yes.
Okay, Justin will move it.
I'll say.
And so we'll continue on to 4 items for discussion and consideration. 4.1 Canada Day Celebrations 2023 report. So I guess we'll let Carly go through this. She can tell us where we're at and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as you can see in the report, I just gave a brief background explaining that we go between Alvin and Noelville every other year. We alternate between the two communities. This year, it's set to be in Alvin, and we wanted to keep it there just to keep the people happy, although there are the renovations that are still happening at the ACC right now. So we won't have access to the building whatsoever. So it's all going to be outside. And we want to advertise that, you know, please come dressed for the weather. If it's really hot, if it's kind of sprinkly, whatever, we're all going to be outside. We did get a tent, a 30 by 40 tent for people to sit under for the entertainment and to eat. Council has tents that we've purchased. So the only people that will be outside of the tents is anyone participating in the bouncy castle, so all the kids and the vendors. There are plans to kind of keep the vendors where there are shaded areas on the property, kind of towards the back. So on the back side of the ACC, there's like a tree line there. So the plan right now is to put it there, but Bob and I are going to go out tomorrow and just kind of stake everything out so that we have a plan as to where everyone's going to fit. And that are going to be comfortable. So for the vendors, for anyone who's interested in participating at Canada Day, we're just saying, you know, please bring an umbrella, something so that we minimize the heat stroke risk for them to be out there if it's a hot day or if it's raining. They have a little pop-up shelter tent or whatever they want to use to help, just to let them know in advance so they can probably plan for that. Yeah, sure.
So because I was kind of under the assumption from the last meeting that I was to reach out to vendors. I've had a few vendors reach out to me. I do have, I told them they had to bring their own table and their own tents. Is what I told them. Kind of like last year, they brought their own tables and set up, and that's what I told them. And I also told them there was a $10 charge. Because if we're just, it can go towards the cost of whatever the day. But the reason being for that is because a lot of people will reserve a spot and not show up the day of. So I told them there was a $10 charge for their spot and they had to bring their own table and tents if they needed them. So that's basically what we did last year. They brought their own tables. Some of them brought pop-up tents, some of them didn't. And we had many cancellations last minute. So this way I figured, you know, if you charge $10, well, it's not an arm and a leg. And I mean, the day of, you don't have to collect, but you know, just say, oh, we decided to give it to you for free, kind of thing, but at least that way. Oh, okay, well, maybe we won't do that. But it's just because it's to encourage people that if they're gonna put their name on the list, to actually be there the day of, or at least notify us that they're not coming. Because, I mean, sometimes it will put next number of tables, we'll say no more than, say, 20 vendors, and you get 20 and then you refuse some, right? So this way, well, at least if they're not gonna show up, well, then, they've reserved their spot. We know that, they're dedicated to coming. So I don't know, that was just my thing, so. I mean, I can leave it up to you, but I do have one lady that did confirm. So if you wanted to have her name and her phone number, I'll give it to you after.
Just so I can get like a master list together of everyone who wants to participate. And then we can let them know of the logistics for the day. We were going to provide tables for them and chairs, just so there's less for them to bring. But if they wanted to bring something just for shade is what we were thinking.
But if they can provide their own table, it's
Yeah.
a lot easier.
Yeah, because we have limited tables too, right? So.
I would just say for them to bring their own table. They do everywhere else they set up.
Okay.
And it's just easier for the staff if you guys aren't renting. And that way, when they're ready to go, they can clean up their spot and leave. That's just my opinion. I don't know, if whatever is easier for the staff, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you've got people setting up fireworks, and that's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The idea
just-
is to set up before and then kind of hands off and monitor the day of, and then we can enjoy it with our families as much as possible too, right? So we're there anyways, so.
So that was just so that, we're delivering the same message. I
Yeah.
mean, because I've had a few people, reach out and ask questions, and that's what I replied to them. So
Okay.
if we're putting out an ad, we don't want to,
There is a
You know.
poster attached to the
Yeah, I
report.
saw that.
So,
That's why.
it's all draft right now. I know there's a couple errors on the French side that Mel had let me know about today. So as long as everyone's okay with the content on that poster, if I'm missing anything, if you think that anything should be included, I might change it to bring your own tables and chairs kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we still want an idea as to how many vendors are coming so we can give them enough, like a big enough
well, you
area.
put your phone number on there, so they'll be contacting
I
you
did.
now. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so I'll
And
just
if they
give
still
you,
contact you though, as long as
I'll
we're
tell them to call-
communicating-
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. And for the promotional items, I've attached a couple of catalogs to the agenda. As you can see in the report, I included a budget. These are all of the things that I've either gotten quotes for or that have already been purchased or reserved or deposits have been put on them. So the fireworks is already purchased. We usually do a $4,500, $5,000 show. We like to up it just a little bit more every year. You get a longer show out of it, bigger fireworks, people are happy. The sound tech, we did get Jason Millier, who is the guy that did our sound for the concert last year. He confirmed with me yesterday that he would be available for Canada Day. So now we can start canvassing artists to see if they want to do an open mic, if they want us to schedule them in. We can start now that we have a sound tech for them, that we can start reaching out that way. The bouncy castles and the candy cart have already been reserved. We had to reserve those, if you recall from our last meeting last year, August, to make sure that we'd have them for this year. That cost compared to the last time we had them has almost tripled. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe. Or there's just a lot more of them. But yeah, so like we used to spend about 1,400 and we'd have 3 or 4 bouncy castles. So this is, and the candy cart that comes with it is at no charge, and they sell popcorn, cotton candy, all sorts of treats. And the municipality actually gets 10% back from the sales made at that event as an incentive so that they can sell their own supplies at the Canada Day. So they benefit, we benefit, takes a little bit of the load off of all the other food vendors that are going to be there for candy for the kids. So I went ahead and booked that.
So last year we prepaid $1,800.
Mhm.
Was it to that company?
Yes,
It's not a party without us?
Yeah.
Okay.
from the pre-COVID. Yeah.
So last year we
Yeah.
spent 1756 on bouncy castles.
Yeah.
And now it's 41.
Yeah. total. So we gave them a 50% deposit.
Last year, we spent 1756 or 57 on bouncy castles. This year it's 41.
Yeah.
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 But then she also prepaid 1,800 for this year,
Yeah.
so.
But that was moved, they did a journal entry to move it under this year's
Year.
budget, so it still counts out of this year's Canada Day budget, so the full 4,100 is gonna hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes,
Compared to 17.
Yeah.
yeah, so that like a huge chunk of our budget, and I think that should be an item for this committee to kind of recommend to council next year, that we need to increase the budget. Instead, because the way that the budget works for Canada Day is we usually go out and ask for a grant through the Canadian Heritage Fund. They would either fund, this year they gave us 4,800, most of the times between 45 and 5,000 if we're successful. But we're banking on half of our budget to be successful through that funding, and they haven't always given us approval for that funding. There's been 1 or 2 years that they've denied us. So I think that it would be appropriate maybe to make a recommendation from this committee to council so that next year's budget, they increase it to at least a $10,000 budget, and then we'll still apply to the fund for a $5,000 grant towards and then we'll have $1,500 to play with, because this year's budget was very tight. The food and drinks, I know we said we wanted to provide free food for children. So the food costs, I went to Foodland and I went to wholesale and I got quotes from everyone. Wholesale Club on Lorne and Sudbury was the cheapest. And we actually got some points back for PC to use for whatever other municipal functions that we have. So we are going to go with them just to get more bang for our buck. We've set aside 1,020 of each. And then I guesstimated about 300 kids would either get a hot dog or a pop, limit of 1 per kid. So leaving them out, so less than $300 for the kids to eat for free under the revenue. I've guesstimated if we sell everything that we could recuperate $1,400 back if we sell everything for $1. So it leaves a very tight budget because we're already $104 over budget. What we haven't purchased yet is the decor and promo items to hand out to the kids. Usually we get the library to help us with that. And because we can't use the ACC, the cost of the tent and the bathrooms for the porta potties that we needed to get there, Bob has agreed graciously to put it under the parks budget, because I didn't feel like that should come out of the party budget, basically. Any questions, recommendations, thoughts?
So I sent an email to Mark Monday. Mark Gagnon and Giselle, and I CC'd Bob. I CC'd you on it about tents. So I went online and looked at different options that we have for tents that can be purchased at roughly 20 or a 20 by 30 could be purchased at 1,200 if it's one of the higher end ones. So I told Mark that I would be willing to give up 3,000 out of the beautification project to purchase 2 tents. That would give us 40 by 60, and we would have them all the time for when we did community events. So, and I mean, we have a $10,000 flower budget. Last year, we were $5,000 left in that budget, or almost 5,700 left on that budget. So I recommend, our flowers aren't going to cost us 10 grand. So I recommend that we take 3,000 from our beautification project to purchase tents that we can use all the time instead of paying $1,800 every time we need to rent tents. Because I know that we're going to have an event this summer. We would purchase tents, rent the tents. And I mean, we could just pay the municipality $200 to put the tents up, or 300 to try to recoup some of that price. Instead of, you know, having somebody go to Sudbury, pick up a tent, come here, install it, return it at $1,800. It makes no sense that we keep doing this year after year after year. So that's my thought.
It's, this was brought up at budget time. I know I brought it up when you weren't there, and if memory serves me right, it was stated then that Mark was gonna put some money aside for a tent. I don't know if he did, but no, it makes complete sense or nonsense to do it the other way. So, no, I agree with you completely. And there was a yes sign when it was brought up to budget, so.
I don't recall it being in the budget for this year. But like I said, I'd be willing to take it out of our beautification project because we're not buying any pots this year. We're not buying any hanging stuff. I mean, we know, and we know that last year we had enough left. So we always try to keep the flower budget to as low as we can. So
Even if it was just one for this year.
Yeah.
And one next
So-
year.
I don't know if Bob wants to speak to this or somebody else.
We did
Debbie?
purchase 2 tents, sorry. We purchased 2 smaller tents, because we used to always borrow home hardwares when we would borrow the barbecue for the events. So we did get 2 10 by 10 tents, with our logos on it, but we don't even have a place to store those right now. They're in the spare office. So I don't know if Bob wants to weigh in on.
Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, you're talking about space and I'm thinking 20 by 30 isn't really a big enough tent.
No, but if we bought 2 of them, we would have 40 by 60 and they
Okay.
have no poles inside. The ones that I sent
Oh,
don't have a
okay.
middle pole. So it doesn't mean those are the ones we need to purchase, but the ones, they do have some that have, 20 by 40. And perhaps the one I did send was 20 by 40. I'm not quite sure,
Mhm.
but that's where I'm thinking if we have 2 of those,
Yeah.
then we're 40 by 80, right?
Yeah.
And that's more than what is recommended here for like $600 more. Like I know storage is always an option. I mean, but we'll buy another sea can. No. I don't know. We'll let Bob talk.
Well, we certainly have to look at what they look like, first of all, and how much of a setup they have to be. If you need 10 guys to put these things up, then that could become an issue, not to put them up maybe, but take them down. And where do we store them? I mean, imagine this would be a pretty big package once it's all folded together. We don't have a lot of storage right now. It would certainly be nice to have.
Oh, for me, it's just cost. I mean, I think it's ridiculous to spend $1,800. Like we would be spending that for Canada Day and then we are gonna spend it for another event this summer. You're looking at $4,000 in rentals. When you could purchase 2 for under $4,000. So, and I mean, if we don't get it this way, then obviously we did speak about this in the past of maybe getting together and purchasing tents and getting local people to purchase the tents, which I mean,
If I may, Madam Chair, if we get them, there's nothing in stopping and recouping costs from other events. Instead of say the Helping Hands going out and renting a tent for 18, we could charge them 500. And recoup as we go along.
It would be the cost of staff going out to set it up, I think, right? Just to.
Well, we could, yes, with the cost of staff, but we don't need 10 staff. We could have 1 or 2 staff with whoever's putting the event on, have 4 people there, have 5 people there.
Yeah.
And that's what we did last year.
Okay.
And I was good at giving orders.
Yeah, well, we'll see them, we'll see how many people come because it's not a party without us. Everything is, because it's all coming on one truck, everything. So we'll see how they do it, how many people they have to, because they set up and they tear down. So they'll come and like it's hands off, right? So all the bouncy castles, all the generators, manning each bouncy castle, setting up the tents, everything's is all under there.
So the tent was rented through, it's not a party without it?
Yep.
I didn't know they rented tents.
They do multiple tents, yeah.
And there's the increase in
Tables,
cost
chairs.
because they set it up and take it.
There's a separate cost of
Yeah, no, but
1,800 on top of the
The
41.
1,800, like the big tent we got last year, I rented from that other place. Anyways, can't remember the name. I should have brought the paper. Was just over $600. This year, the same tent, to have them come down, install it, was about the $1,800 because of the manpower. And then we were liable for 3 days because they couldn't guarantee if they were going to come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that nobody would damage any of the tents. But that's the increasing cost.
Justin, do you have any comments about the tents?
So I've looked at investing into a large tent myself, for my property and whatnot, and I know the cost, and I'll just be blunt. I think it's cheaper to rent than to purchase one, for sure.
It's cheaper to
To rent,
rent one year after year after year
absolutely. Absolutely.
at $2,000 or $4,000 after.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm not quite sure where you got your numbers, but I've priced them out and they're between $15,000 and $20,000 for a decent tent. And then you're looking at manpower to put them up, set them up, whatnot. And then you're looking at the lifespan of the tent, right? The fading of it, if it's not properly stored, whatever. Yeah, that's my opinion. It's, to me, it's not worth it.
Okay.
About an enclosed tent, open, or just the open tent, because I know the enclosed tents are very expensive. But
We
most
have
of
an
the ones-
enclosed tent we've rented an enclosed tent. So it has the option of, like, it has the walls that you can either open or shut.
So the one you're renting
Yeah.
can be enclosed?
Yes.
And the ones you priced out are just the top,
The top, and you could buy the sides.
then you buy the side separate, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's when they become more expensive,
Yeah.
is when they're enclosed.
The more material,
Yeah.
yeah, or poles. So
Or
we had,
poles, yeah.
we had the option of a pole or a tent or a frame tent. And we went with the poles just because we have done that, the last time we were in Alvin pre-COVID, I think it was 2019. And it was nice. It had like a nice color wrap around it. And then like just the fact that they come in and make sure that it's set up properly. So that like any wind, whatever, you're not liable should the thing collapse.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hands off for staff, one less thing for us to worry about. So.
So how about we do some research on what we can find comparable to what they're renting? And see if we do have room to store it, if we do buy one.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question about the bouncy castle? Is that like the only company in Sudbury that supplies bouncy castles?
There's two.
Oh.
This one had just approached me. We've been with him for a couple of years and I would flip flop between the two. I can't remember the name of the other one, but they used to be colleagues and then they split into two different companies just because the demand is so high for them, just rentals in general in Sudbury. So it's not a party without us. And then Amazing Fun is the other one.
Okay, I know Amazing Fun last summer, a lot of people had issues with them. So I think we're better off to stick with It's Not a Party Without Us. They left a lot of people high and dry, so. Yeah. I think maybe, I don't know if it was just management and, problems there, but
And if I could put my 5 cents, by the way, It's Not a Party Without Us. I've used them for our events in Gabriel many times over the years. And I've never had any issues with Dan with It's Not a Party Without Us.
Same for any
They're a good
municipal
gang.
event. They're very, very accommodating. Yeah,
Yep,
and
100%.
comparable price point as well.
Okay, so if you guys are okay, Bob's recommendation was that they would look and see what the cost is of purchasing one and then come back to us. But for now, we'll just keep things as is and see, what's what. Does that sound okay to everybody? I'll share my link with you that online that I had. Okay, keep, Debbie?
Was just gonna say, maybe check with, it's not a party without us, and see where he purchased his tents from and see what kind of pricing they get. If it's a good quality, they gotta have a good quality if they're up and down with them all the time.
I don't think that's fair to ask the person who's supplying us where he's getting it and purchasing it, to be honest. I don't.
Oh, no problem.
They might have shared that information.
Staff will look into it. Okay, that's all.
So just to continue on the promo items, did anyone have any recommendations? There's $1,000 set aside in the budget currently for it. In previous years, we've kind of kept with a theme of some kind so that we can put little packages together for the kids, and it kind of gives us an idea of how many kids are attending, and then we can kind of guesstimate that they each have a parent and kind of get how many people attended number, best guess. So last year we did sand buckets and beach balls. And then whatever we had left from previous years, whether it be tattoos, balloons, lanyard, whatever little trinket we would have, the library stuffed the buckets with them, and then we gave each kid a bucket. The years before that, we did kind of like a glow theme. And I think that if I were to give an opinion, because of all the events that happened at the arena that were very successful, like the glow skate and everything that happened, I think was a big hit with the kids. Maybe I put a suggestion of LED foam party sticks, which we have purchased previously. You can get 300 for $690. We still have an inventory of tattoos and balloons. So decor items, I think we would kind of keep to a minimum. We'll buy some just to decorate the outside and some tables and stuff like that, and blow up some balloons. We have about 100 balloons still in stock from previous years. We have a couple of flags. If everyone wanted to give maybe their opinion on a theme, whatever you wanted to give the kids / adults sometimes, if they wanted to take a couple of tattoos, we have a couple of those still in stock. So let me know your thoughts, weigh in. We can also do sprinklers, or, give people glow sticks for the fireworks time. If everyone's in agreement with that, I need to order these relatively quickly, just because they're going to run out of stock soon. Last year, I just got back on May 2nd, and they were pretty much out of a lot of items. So we're a couple days past that right now. So it's a white foam stick that has LED lights on the inside and a switch at the bottom, and it just blinks. And it changes color, and you can put a Canadian flag on it. You can put your logo on it. And so the kids were just running around with the LED sticks and, sword fights and whatever, waiting for the fireworks to start. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they were a pretty big hit, and they last forever. You just change the battery on the bottom, so it's kind of a nice keepsake. So, okay, if everyone's in agreement with that, Madam Chair, then I can put that order in. Okay.
Everybody's
Yeah,
good with
I-
that?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think that'd be great for the kids.
Okay, do you think 300's fair? Do you want to exhaust the full $1,000 budget, or do you want to see more decor? Any thoughts there?
How many buckets did they give away last
250, and we ran out 3/4 of the way through. So that's
We
why I
had
upped it
good
to
turnout.
300.
year? So you think? enough? Or would you go?
350 might be safer. Yeah, yeah. I'd rather have more than less, for sure. Okay.
Yeah, and if you have leftover, there's other events throughout the year that you can always just
Yep.
give them.
Yep.
Just one comment maybe about the barbecue. I know that the cheapest way to go is to go to Sudbury. But if we are we not asking the Foodland to give a donation of hot dogs? And if we are, we should probably purchase the hot dogs from them. You can order boxes from them and maybe charge $2 for the hot dog. Even if the cost is a little more, people will pay $2 for a hot dog. And then we could offset the cost for the kids because we asked Foodland for the donation. For the kids, right? So I don't think it would be right for us to get the hot dogs from Foodland, but then go purchase the rest in Sudbury. I mean,
How many,
well, I know when the Case does their barbecues, they buy boxes of hot dogs from Foodland. And so if, they're offsetting the cost, giving some free ones and versus that, I'd rather charge $2 for a hot dog, pay a little bit more, but still make the same kind of money. And then at least next year, when we are wanting another donation from Foodland, at least they're there because National Grocer is not the person that's going to give us a donation. You could go there for the juices and stuff maybe, but I wouldn't do it for the hot dogs.
So I see here, we're looking at 1,020 hot dogs. As far as the wieners themselves, I believe I can get them through
So
the,
the order's already in at
oh, it's
wholesale.
already in.
Yes, because
Okay.
I put them on reserve so that they'd have them in stock
Yeah.
when we go to pick them up at the end of June. Because we also don't have fridges or anything to store them in at the ACC. So I had to pick them up like right close to Canada Day because normally I'd pick them up a week or so in advance and I'd throw them in the fridges at the ACC so that I knew they were in stock.
Yeah, because we have freezers at Food Bank that are
Okay,
empty right now.
okay.
Okay, I didn't know if they had already been ordered.
Yeah, just so that it was worry free. No.
No, it's through my access to the food bank.
No, I know.
We get, yeah.
I just mean because in the past, we always went to Foodland for a donation. So don't ask for a donation if we're not
So just,
buying it from there.
yeah,
That's all
last
I'm
year
saying.
was the first year for Canada Day that we had asked for a donation for the kids to give to Carol the free hot dogs. Before that, we've purchased everything. And we would charge, I think, $2 for the hot dog back then and $3 for a burger and $1 for a drink. When we've had council barbecues.
Madam
I-
Chair, if
Yeah,
I
ahead.
understand right, the food has been already booked, but not locally? Maybe next year we can look at supporting our businesses and buying.
I did ask them
locally.
for a quote, to be fair, but
Mhm.
because of our budget constraints. We went with wholesale because the price on buns was double what I could get them for at wholesale. The hot dogs were par. And then
Okay.
drinks were a little bit cheaper as well.
No, that's fine, but I think in the future we'll have to look at local.
Yeah.
Last year, we channeled all the hot dogs for the kids through the La Boîte à Lunch. Are we cooking them this year?
We are cooking them. We're getting the barbecues from Home Hardware. So
Okay.
last year we got the buns free from the delivery guy that delivers at the SO. And we got the hot dogs from the Foodland. So we reached out to different organizations in town for different things to help keep the cost down last year. And where we had a $10,000 budget, we only spent 5,000 because everything else was donation. So we were under budget and now we're over budget, but we're not utilizing any of the businesses in town that would give generously for Canada Day. And I don't know, but if we can save tax dollars, to me, saving money and asking, I know it may not be the easiest way to go, but it's saving our tax dollar money and it's keeping our budget low. So since all the work is done this year, I'm okay with it, but I know that I'm not in favor of giving money to Sudbury for stuff, even if we're saving $1. I think it's important for us to support our local businesses and keep our money in-house. I mean, it's our tax dollars money. It's these businesses that survive year after year after year if we support them. So that's my opinion. And go ahead, Justin, you had a comment.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with you in such a way of supporting local, but where are they? Why haven't they stepped up to the plate? And has anybody asked any of the locals? Anybody asked any of the local restaurants maybe that would be willing to donate some of these hot dogs instead of going to wholesale club? And unfortunately, I have to agree with Carly in such a way that if the locals can't supply the amount that we need to make this happen, then we have to source outwards. We have no choice. Like,
And with the council barbecue, we always charge. So we can't ask for things for free as a municipality and then end up charging and incur a profit. We have to be very careful with that.
Mhm.
It has to be a washout. So if we're getting it for free, it goes back out for free.
Mhm.
So then it's
Absolutely.
free for everyone. And I think that personally, it's unfair that we ask for a municipal significant event such as Canada Day to ask Foodland to foot that bill. If it's a free for all for hot dogs, people may take advantage, having a little bit of a cost associated with it. Minimal as
and that's
it
where
may be.
that's exactly where I was going at with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that we're not supporting local. It's just we can't ask them to donate all that stuff and then us not get ahead of the game in the long run by giving stuff away.
Exactly. And now with the food bank, they are trying to work with Foodland and getting some things for free, getting things for a different cost than normal people would pay just walking in there. So we don't want to burn our bridges and ask for too many free handouts, especially because we're a municipality. It's just public perception. We got to be careful with who we are asking for stuff from for free all the time. So if we're incurring a profit, then fine. But I think it would be hard to get a handle on things. People might come up and say, I want 5 free hot dogs. They were coming up and buying 4 hot dogs at a time. And, so it's just logistically.
But
I
we
think-
never gave them away for free, Carly. We always
know.
charged. When we did it in Alvin 2 years ago, the kids are free, but the adults always pay for their hot dogs. And so $2 for a hot dog for an adult is not much, even if, you're going, every business, whether it's Lemieux's in Alvin or Foodland, we can purchase our hot dogs from them. There's no count. And as far as asking donations, Foodland is a cooperative and they don't give to many things, but they do give to children's events. And I know that personally from years and years of doing events in the area, they will give hot dogs for the kids. So they'll give the free hot dogs for the kids and then you purchase the other hot dogs that we sell to the adults. That is the normal way that we do things, that we've done things in the past. We'll purchase for the adults, charge $2, but the kids' stuff is free. We don't charge for the kids. And that's the way we did it. The bread guy, which is the same bread guy that goes to Foodland, that came to the SO. I asked him if we could purchase them at cost. He said, no, I will donate them to you. So he donated the cost of all the buns for the whole event. So there was no cost associated with that. But if we don't go and ask, they can't give us stuff. And I understand that the food bank, yes, that's year round. I get that. But I know how much money the Foodland or the co-op gives to other communities in the area, Burner, Sturgeon, Field, to other events. And the 1 or twice a year that we're asking for hot dogs is not what's going to break their bank. So that's just, and I understand cost, but you charge a little bit more.
Yeah, so as long as we're going forward, if we're going to be asking for donations for food, we absolutely cannot charge for it. Just as long as the committee and everyone know that, whatever we're getting as a donation, we cannot incur a profit.
As a donation.
Anything that's donated to us, we
So for
cannot
the kids-
go turn around and sell that
No,
product to
no.
incur a
So
profit.
if you want 350 hot dogs, you get 350 donated, and then I don't know how many adults normally have hot dogs. Those you can purchase from them.
Yeah.
And there's no reason they couldn't give us a better price.
I could always go back to them and ask, but I always ask them just
I don't
give
mean
me a
for this
quote.
year.
No,
I'm
I know,
just
going forward.
Yeah.
Yep, going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something we can discuss in the future for sure.
Last year, what was the arrangement with La Boy de Lunch? Did she charge us to do the?
No, so
free hot
last
dog?
year we got all the free hot dogs. We would give the kids a ticket.
Yeah,
She cooked them for us because we
Okay.
didn't have a barbecue.
yeah.
And then
sorry.
she had her cart. So the adults were eating from her cart, but the kids were getting a free hot dog.
Yeah,
And then we gave chips and a drink.
and a drink,
And so, and everything was donated last year.
yeah, and by having our own barbecue, doing it for the kids, that'll alleviate the.
The like
lineup
lunch
that-
and,
that-
yeah.
That she had, so that's good. Go ahead.
Just because the last meeting, I was asked to see if I could find food trucks. Impossible.
I know, they're very booked up.
I went as far as Perry Sound, North Bay, Lively, Chelmsford, Sudbury, Cape Real. Gee, it sounds like a song that goes. And there was one that might have been interested, they asked how many people. I just took a quick guess of 1,200, which is a bit probably high. And they said, no, it's not enough people.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, they charge you now to show up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I called every one that I could see on Google
Mhm.
and, again, it's Canada Day everywhere,
Mhm.
and one person told me, no, he says, we're booked a year ahead.
Yep.
So.
Our
it
saving
was-
grace in Albin is at least Dee Dee's and the other chip stand is there,
Mhm.
like within the same proximity at least.
Now, what I had in mind is, now you mentioned the chip stand. Would it be possible, well, I want to go and approach them to see if they could set up something at the Canada Day celebration that they could supply fish and chips.
Worth an ask.
I don't know. if
The
they're
worst they
set
can
up
say
for
is
that,
no, yeah, yeah.
But I was gonna go tomorrow.
We would have a space for them.
Mhm.
If should they wish, like we can maybe put it out on our vendors
Mhm. Okay,
poster that we're looking also for food vendors. Cause that would help minimize lines.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or another idea I had, and did the Lions Club book for a booth?
Not currently, not yet.
Because I know at the last meeting it was discussed that they wanted to have a booth there trying to
Yes.
promote the Lions.
And they usually give us a fairly like $1,000 donation. Historically, they've given us that for the last couple years to go towards kids' activities.
Mhm. Yeah, and it was mentioned at the last meeting, there was, I think, $350 for the children's activities and I believe it was 1,000 for the. And how about, again, it's just an idea. If through the Lions, they were to set up a barbecue. Hamburgers and sausage on a bun, things like that.
It has
To
been
sell.
done. Yeah, Ado Senor did our barbecue a couple years ago as a fundraiser for themselves. But council misses the interaction with the public on the day. That's why the council usually did the
That's that,
barbecue.
Okay,
We tried it with Ado Senor because I think through Giselle, she was saying that they were trying to look for fundraising initiatives. So that would be a
Yeah,
perfect
because,
place
yeah,
for
you told
them.
me
Yeah.
about that, yeah,
Um,
because we are gonna have one this year also.
Yeah.
A fundraiser, but at a different date, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just,
Yeah,
Just
it can be
mentioned I
done. It
couldn't
can be
find
done.
out
If we're
for the truck.
approached. Yeah, if we're approached
Yeah.
about it, then we can make it happen for sure.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, I was just thinking like that might be a good idea if they're offering some other type of food outside of the hot dogs, right? Like you're gonna be interacting with the people coming up to buy a hot dog or the children get a hot dog. But they could be, like, if you're putting it out to other food vendors, why not let the Lions have a,
You know, like hamburgers. and
yeah,
sausage.
something totally different.
Okay, so if, just my comment, if you're gonna do that, then we only do the hot dogs for the kids. Because it's gonna be hard for Carly to justify how many hot dogs to purchase. If
Okay.
there's another
Yeah,
source of food, right? Because now if we're adding, somebody else is selling hamburgers and that, then how many hot dogs does Carly buy? Because she can't
but
return
you were
them,
you were gonna have other food vendors there, right? Like,
one.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have La Boite to lunch there again.
but
Yeah.
you were.
She's gonna have
actually
a
looking for
minimal
more.
menu for, we were looking for more, but we were unable to find
Yeah.
any more. La Boite de Lunch has said that she's going to minimize her menu just to speed things up a little bit. And I said, we've got hot dogs taken care of. So she doesn't have to worry about that. I think she's just gonna stick to like poutine, deep fried and churn out as much as she can. We have done burgers and hot dogs in the past with council. It's just the burgers take a little
It
bit longer
just
to
takes
cook.
time.
We get them pre-cooked,
Yeah.
but hot dogs are just safer.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
Carly, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
just a suggestion here, guys, if you guys looking for different aspects of food and whatnot, instead of just, you know, the hot dogs and whatnot, why not ask, you know, like we were talking about DD's or the chip stand across the street, since it's walking distance, ask them to do some kind of special for Canada Day weekend to give that opportunity to people to just have different food other than hot dogs if they don't want to have the hot dogs. They can just, you know, and it doesn't interfere with the hot dogs and the barbecuing for the adults and kids. Those that want to work away, see if they want to do a special of some sort.
And whatever we would have had left over, we can't keep either. We were just gonna donate it to the food bank. So it's not gonna go to waste, at least.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to tag along on your idea, Roger, of maybe approaching the chip stand if they could do a fish fry and something like this. I don't think they're equipped to move their stuff. It would be more somebody like maybe the Rod and Gun Club, which have all the portable fryers, and that maybe they would be interested if that's the route
Mhm.
we want to go.
Are they, like, it would be sort of a fundraiser for them, for the Rod and Gun Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to give a second choice to the people of food that's available to them.
But like you say, if you do the sausage and the hamburger through the Lions, and then you have a deal through the fish and chip that's already there and DD's, then you don't need to.
You
or you
probably
wouldn't
don't.
have to
I-
purchase
I-
something else.
Right,
I don't want to answer for them, the Rod and Gun, but
of course not.
I know they have very little limited membership and
Yeah.
volunteers, so I don't even know if they be interested.
Well, I could approach them and find out. It's not a-
Well, then,
Can we find out first what the Boita Lunch is gonna sell before we bring in somebody else to sell burgers and she's selling burgers?
I waited 2 hours. I'm not knocking it. It is what it is. If that many people turn up again, I think it would be a relief to have. Because if you have kids,
Second option.
if you have kids and they're going to get their hot dogs and mom's waiting in line for an hour and a half or so to get, because it's busy. And I'm not saying her food wasn't good at what, that's not what I'm saying, but I had a 2 hour wait for Putsin. So another option should be welcomed.
Well,
The
that was
amount-
one of my, excuse me, that was one of my later, questions come up. The last thing you want to do is interfere with them. Because they're committed for this year, but next year might be a different story. So does anybody know if she would be open to having other?
She was very open to having help.
Okay.
Because last year was an anomaly. We
Mhm.
were not expecting that many people after COVID. The amount of kids just that have moved into the area or that were born during COVID. It was nice to see everyone, but we were not expecting that amount of numbers. Normally, we've seen like 200 to 300 people max.
I believe if it's nice weather this year, you're gonna see even more people coming up.
At least the venue here, we have parking. There's a couple other vendors in the area for food, restaurants. I mean, there's the splash pad, there's the park. Things are a little bit more spaced out. So this, I think our saving grace this year is just our venue. Minus the use of the ACC, but that'll be just for this year, I hope.
That brings up another question for Bob. The ACC, the washrooms, are they being renovated?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. All right, that answers my question.
So new stalls, new floors, everything painted.
I thought if it wasn't, we could use the washrooms. You could block off the rest of the ACC and just walk through the door with it and go to the left or the right where the washrooms are.
Well, at this moment, they're not usable. July 1st is still a month and a half away. it's a possibility.
Because most occasion, I found that men don't mind using these porta potties, but women aren't too fond of them. You know, so I thought maybe the washrooms, if they were available, could be used that way.
If they're available, we can make them usable,
Oh, great, thank you.
but right now I can't promise that they'll be available.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it.
I just have
one
sorry,
more?
one more.
No, go ahead.
The face painting and art. So I've reached out to Mireille Lacroix about face painting. So she said that the FRCIC could get a couple of artists together and do the face painting for us. So that was the other part of the budget, is that we had set aside $500 to buy the materials. So the paintbrushes, the sponges, everything for them, as well as she wanted to do an art project, just roll out a big piece of paper for the kids to make a scenic mural. Picasso themed is what she had mentioned to me. She was supposed to be here tonight, but she couldn't. So this is why I'm relaying the message to the committee. So Mireille is kind of spearheading kids art activity and face painting. So we'll also have that entertainment for the kids. And they were supposed to get back to me, but the French River Children's Club also wanted to help with the kids donation. Everyone wants to help for the kids. So they wanted to donate, she believed $225. She just needs to confirm with the rest of their committee that that's going to be what they would donate. And it would be towards the kids' activities. So they would just, in appreciation of it, we've put their logo on the poster, and we would also put a donation bin so that they can further their own kids initiatives and activities in the area, and if they wanted to continue to donate to the committee, to this committee for Canada Day, then that they could do so. I think that's everything now.
Okay. Does anybody have any other comments, questions? Think we'll be good.
Is everyone okay with the posters? These, yes, yeah. Hot dog and drink, yeah, everything's $1 to keep it easy. I'm thinking maybe it might be a good idea to say, you know, a better way or more clearer way to say that your kids may get dirty, depending on what activity that they're going to be doing. It is. I said there is water activities and paint activities. There's an obstacle course. So I don't know if we want to do it by explaining to them what sort of bouncy castles are going to be there, that they are water activities, that there will be paint, kind of dress for the occasion kind of message. Just
I don't have it in front of me, but as already mentioned, maybe like, you know, for the kids to bring a bathing suit, they're gonna play at the water park or stuff like that, maybe. But otherwise, I think the poster looks great.
okay. Okay,
A
and
lot of
we
people forget, a
will-
lot of parents forget, you know, to grab a bathing suit for the kids, whatnot, and then they,
yeah. Just reminder, I'll put like a splash somewhere, reminder, please bring your bathing suits if participating in water activities or something like that. Yeah,
Question.
you hope they do.
This goes rain or shine?
If it's really heavy rain and thunderstorms, no, it's canceled. To have a rain date, it's really hard just with coordinating all of the dates and everything for all the bouncy castles and the vendors. I don't want to say that they're booked up, but just to have a secondary rain date. What we've done in the past, we've had to cancel it once. We have rescheduled the fireworks to be on a different day. We still, because we prepaid for those. But it has to be thunderstorming, I believe, right? For us to cancel. Yeah.
And then all the bouncy castle and all that, then you don't end up having to pay for any of that.
Correct. Yeah. We would get our deposit back.
Last meeting, we talked about a dunk tank. Has anything been done on that?
Yeah, so that's gonna be, so we have, that depends on the fire department association, which I can't speak for them until we have our next meeting. And once we have the next meeting, then I'll probably send out an email to say that the fire department's on board. I can't speak for them other than the association. I have secured the dunk tank from the Cape Coral Firefighters Association. They've gave me the okay to no charge, come and get it and use it. I just have to get, I have to get acceptance from the association on the Alpine side and the Wellville side.
Yeah, I do believe this would be also a good fundraiser. For even the food bank or, you know, whoever we could donate money to from. Yeah, or yeah, the firefighters, yeah, or anybody, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
If it helps, Justin, just to put a placeholder, because Bob and I are going out tomorrow to kind of stake out where everything's going, size wise. We were planning on putting the bouncy castles and basically all that fun stuff activity in the ball diamond, just to kind of corral the kids into the fence. Did you want us to stake out just a potential location there just in case?
Yeah, again, I want to talk to the association about it first. I wouldn't mind it if we can have it closer to the fire department area, because if the guys are there, then we can have it near the fire station kind of thing.
Yeah, emergency responders usually line up because EMS and OPP are also invited.
Yeah.
And they'll usually line up all their cars and whatever they want to bring in front of the fire hall.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so
So yeah, I'm around tomorrow too, so I can come take a look if you want.
So there's a tap on the Albin fire station on the far side. Maybe we can put it there, so then it's easy for you guys to fill up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Okay, so do we need is there a resolution for that? No? Okay. So we're just gonna go around the table. I don't know. Today was basically just to discuss Canada Day, but does anybody else have anything they want to say? So we can start with Justin. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
For Canada Day?
No, just in general.
Oh, no.
No, you're good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
Kim, it's good. Debbie, good. Bob?
You know, I always have to say something, Renee. No, just great job, everyone, and I apologize and just a quick note to Carly, I haven't been getting any documentation.
They had told me, so I'm going to talk to you.
Okay,
separately
well,
about
I'll
that.
talk to you. We'll settle it between us. And I'm available all day to work the barbecue that day, and I'll probably have someone to help me. I'm good. And I didn't see, what time does the bar open?
Funny, Bob. It's Canada Day. It's for the kids. It's about family time. No bar.
I am a kid.
You are. Well. Okay, Roger, do you have anything to say? Okay, for you, all good? And I believe I'm good too, so.
I just want to add, maybe one thing that we can put in the
Yeah.
docket for next year, I'm gonna butcher the name of it, Cavalier de Colombe, I think did our bar 1 year as well as a fundraiser. So if there's anyone that wants to do the barbecue or a bar for this event as a fundraiser, then that would also be acceptable. Yes. Yeah. The reason why we're kind of getting away from it as staff is because our names need to be on the SOP. So we physically have to be there. So it's the liability. Now staff is assuming that themselves. And it's just, there's too much going on for us to keep our eyes on everything that's going on. So it would have to be a charitable organization. So as long as you have a charity number, Helping Hands, whatever. If you wanted to set up a bar between now and then, it'd be a little difficult because I feel like it's a camping situation this year. There's no fridges, but you can set up some coolers, whatever. If you hear from anyone that needs to fundraise for anything.
Bob,
Yes, no, it's a great idea. I love it. But I think maybe for this year, with the condition of the ACC, maybe if I may suggest, what we have done for Earth Day, we have formed a subcommittee, which we will be meeting throughout the year, about every 5, 6 months. Maybe it would be a good idea for this event to do the same thing. Meet maybe after this event, maybe once in September, then meet January and start planning this on a longer range. Suggestion only.
Yes, so we've set out to meet every second month. And so we can start planning at our next meeting, we can start planning Canada Day for next year. It's just this year, with the elections and just started, we only had our meeting. We had our meeting in March, so that's why we're kind of fast on the ball, but now moving forward, like we could start planning at our next meeting for next year, you know? And she'll probably already book, it's not a party without us, kind of do the same as last year because you gotta book ahead, right?
All what I'm saying is that we formed a subcommittee of 3
A subcommittee, okay?
and to then report back here and going. It's just an idea.
Yeah.
It seems to be working well there. We might want to think about it.
So
That's
we
all.
would form a subcommittee for,
Candidate,
just for Canada Day.
just for Canada Day.
And that subcommittee would come back to this committee?
Yes.
Okay,
Unless this committee gives them carte blanche with staff to plan it,
plan it. Oh, okay,
which would include the chair and 2 committee members.
gotcha.
So if it's like an ad hoc committee
Yeah.
of this committee, then it can be more candid. It doesn't need to be live streamed. We can have just our meetings in the boardroom. It doesn't need to be,
Exactly, and
Yeah. is that what, that's what you're
Yeah.
going for? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can discuss it with Mel, our clerk, and maybe
If-
get some
if that is the
direction
wish,
from her.
Didn't know how the process would work, but it's a good process. Yeah,
Starting earlier, I think there would be some cost cutting also. You know, if you prepare ahead of time or you know what you're going to do, especially with food. You could cut the cost down quite a bit. Because I have people, you know, the old thing, people that know people that can help out with food. And especially in what we're looking at, like hamburgers, hot dogs and stuff like that, and buns. So it would help out anyway.
so maybe we could discuss that at our next meeting. Keep it in mind and maybe you talk to Mel and see how things would unfold from there. Okay, so I think that is it. A mover and a seconder to close the meeting. Roger and Debbie.
Meeting is
And,
adjourned at 7:04.
oh, I think we should probably mention that Bob will probably not be at our next meeting unless he wants to join our committee as a volunteer moving forward, because Bob has announced his retirement. So thank you for everything you have done for us in the past. I know the last 4 years, we asked a lot from the recreation group. So thank you guys thank you for, supporting our ideas, even though sometimes they were crazy and always helping us out. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Enjoy your retirement.
I will.
Thank you, Bob.